Write your full name instead of your mobile number, etc. And make your microphone on mute mode. Put also your video on switch off mode so that we enjoy the bandwidth. And host, myself today hosting, will be making you unmute whenever you want to have the conversation with the speaker, and use the chat box and enjoy the conversation. But before we go further, please write in the chat box from where you are joining, what is your name, and what energy you are bringing in, because everything is about the energy. And I want to make it sure that with your presence of all your respected dear attendees, our guest speaker, he feels energized. So make it sure that you put in the chat box your name, where you are joining, energy you are bringing in, so that we create an energy in the room and we all enjoy the conversation. So please write it in the chat box. Great, thank you very much. And just to quickly let you know what is our why we have started this empowerment talk, which is very clear. We started this during the pandemic when everything were locked down. We wanted to use uncertain times powerfully and smartly. We wanted to improve our skills, our knowledge, so that we can be a better version of ourselves and we can make a difference in our community, in our society. Together, motivating each other, encouraging each other to take right action. And also, we have recently started, with the help of experts, coaches, to help someone if there is any issue of stress, mental challenges, in case you are stuck somewhere. With the help of our coaches, we ensure that you get unstuck and move forward in your life, in your journey, wherever you want to go. So these are our whys, and we know very clearly that how we have to take action and what exactly we have to do, which consistently we are doing since last 133 episodes. And these are the two great gentlemen. Please, friends, I request you all to give a huge round of applause to our founder, Faisal Ibrahim, and co-founder, Yash Rawat. They had a conversation during the pandemic, and they decided to do something, and they created this platform just for the sake of helping you, me, and many like us, so that we can become a better version of ourselves. And what they're doing, they are requesting the international speakers or speakers from various different parts of the world coming on this platform, having conversation with us. Like today, we have the guest speaker joining us from Thailand. Yes, he has been born and brought up in Europe, but currently he is placed in Thailand, and he has joined from Thailand. Why? Just because he wants to have the conversation with you all, and he wants to make it sure that we get enriched from his knowledge, his wisdom, and that's the purpose he is here. And I welcome him again. And just to you know, our journey started on 12th of April 2020, and as of today, we have 30,000 plus Zoom logins. Yes, we have 30,000 plus Facebook lives, and overall combined views, we have 100 plus empowerment talks ambassador across the globe. Yes, and we are running our campaign. We are reaching everybody through Insta and Telegram group, also through other social media. As you can see on the screen, our audience, our speakers coming and joining us from different parts of the world. Yes, you can name it: America, Africa, Australia, United Kingdom, today from Thailand, India, Dubai. Most of us are from here. So it's a global community and it's growing every day. And here are some of the previous posters of the speakers and the subjects on which they have spoken. They have delivered the speeches. They had the conversation with you all. You can see on the screen: power of words, treatment for mind, hope, health, and humor, financial discipline, empowering your kids, empowering yourself, influencing yourself to become better leader, emotional intelligence, how can you heal yourself, how can you unlock your potential, how can you have the financial freedom. So covering various aspects of the life from the mental health to financial challenges, knowing yourself, having confidence in you, having success formula and all such things. Even we had a speaker just 13 years old, Ashna Takhtani. She spoke on knowledge. She says that knowledge is not power unless you implement it. And this is what is the purpose of Empowerment Talks. We request and bring our speakers from different parts of the world. They share the knowledge, and we all have to implement whatsoever we learn from our guest speakers. And we had a 100th episode celebration in a style. Shashi Tharoor, very famous celebrity from India and a member of United Nations, he had joined us, and we had a great celebration. And also recently we have 125th episode celebration. Yes, and the guest speaker was none other than Jean-Pierre de Villiers. He's a performance coach, and Yash Rawat was the host of the day. And today's topic is another powerful topic, which is workplace dynamic and redesign in the new normal. As you all know, we are in new normal. Though pandemic is still there, but things have changed and things are changing very fast. So we are facing the new normal, but we have to make it sure that we face this new normal smartly. And that's why our guest speaker is going to talk on this subject, that how the workplace dynamic and the redesign can be done in such a way that you enjoy your life. And here is our guest speaker, Patrick Benson. May I request you all to please give a huge round of applause to Patrick Benson, who has joined us from Thailand. As you can see on the screen, he is into the Forbes Coaches Council, and he's organizational psychologist as well as clinical psychologist, which is a very challenging area. And being organizational psychologist as well as clinical psychologist is not so easy, ladies and gentlemen. While Patrick Benson has the expertise, and he's also a member of International Association of Counseling. He has consultant right to the United Nations, and he was appointed in 2016 to open the 50th anniversary symposium on psychology. And he's also an entrepreneur where he has developed business competencies together with a fair understanding of good business practices. Yes, so today's conversation is going to be very powerful, very useful, and I request you all to please make yourself completely present. Switch off or put your silent, make yourself you are not focused on request Patrick to please come on board, and floor is all yours. Patrick, please take us through the journey so that we all get benefited from your powerful conversation. Over to you, Patrick Benson.
Thank you so much, Ken, for this amazing presentation of the organization and having me as a guest. I'm very thrilled. All right. You're also very powerful yourself. I will try to keep up with the power. So yes, today we will talk about the workplace. Why I want to talk about workplace? Because this is my passion for some years now. We spend, very simply, we spend 1/3 of our life sleeping, we spend 1/3 of our life working, and we spend 1/3 of our life for ourselves. So I have decided to concentrate on the area which is 1/3 of our lifetime, which is 25 years to 30 years. Let's say 30 years of your life, you at work, only at work for 30 years nonstop. And many things can happen there. So what has changed since March 2020, when the world wake up between February and March and realized that, well, we're not going to ever work again the same way. And of course, the history is going as we're making it. But here's what it is. Before we talk about what changed, I want to talk about what we used to have. The workplace, and it's going to be a bit of negativity here, but for most people, the workplace was a place of pure obedience with a hierarchy where they didn't have a choice to or express their voice. They were there because they have no choice. They have to feed a family. They were coming there and they have to do this 8, 10 hours, 12 hours, 14 hours, 16 hours on the film industry work. And there was no feedback whatsoever. There was also harassment, bullying, peer pressure. That was daily. There was also pushing the limit of the deadline for the employee. That was a very common practice. And finally, there was also the workplace was very vertical since Taylor. Taylorism started in the 1905, and we have not deviated from that model for the last 115 years, 120 years. We're still based on the same model that was designed by Taylorism at the workplace. It doesn't matter which sofa you have, or if the workplace is a lot nicer, that you don't feel that is, a factory when you're going to work. The organization itself is still based on that model because we haven't got a new model since then. And my hope is that in 2020, finally, with the COVID, we will have to rethink our workplace. So what is going to change? A lot of things are going to change. It's going to be very hard for the leadership to maintain a hierarchy as it was. The hierarchy based, sorry to, for lack of a better word, use the military system. When you're on a military camp or in operation, you still have a line of command. You still have a physical presence of your officer. Now, without them in front of you, you become James Bond. You will operate by yourself, doing what is best, what you think is best to do, without having to report so often to an officer. That's what the workplace is going to change. We used to be in the army, and now we become all James Bond, if you like. We have more power, more array to actually act. What is going to change is the people don't want to go back to the workplace. How do I know that? It's because last week, for example, in the Wall Street Journal, there was an article saying that when New York was hit by the pandemic, every workplace in the whole state of New York was in lockdown. Eventually, in May, they start to reopen. In June, it was fully reopened. Yeah, the workplace was fully reopened, but only 8% of the people returned to New York workplace. 8%, that means 92% decide to stay home. And what is that? It's kind of not hard to understand. It's like 85% of the world population now live in big city. 85% of the world population. And they have to face every day queue, traffic jam. It's a nightmare for most people. Where I'm from, in Vancouver, Canada, the traffic could be 3 hours to go downtown and 3 hours to go back. It's almost 4 hours in LA. It's about the same in New York. And I don't mention Mexico City or massive city in India, in China. It's a nightmare. Who wants to spend 6 to 8 hours in his car only to make another 8 hours to 10 hours at workplace? So you remember I was talking about the 3/3, one third sleeping, 1/3 for yourself, and 1/3 working. That's where the 2/3 is going away. You're going to spend 1/3 of your life traveling to work and 1/3 of your life working, and the only thing left is 1/3 sleeping. Basically, when you're going home, you go straight to bed without taking your shoes off. And actually, it happened to me many times, where you're so tired, you don't want to eat, you don't want to do anything, you don't want to watch TV, you don't want to relax, you go straight to bed without taking your clothes off, almost. And for most people living in big cities, that was the thing. What's changed is we just remove 1/3 of the traffic jam. So it's not surprising that 92% of the people have said goodbye for good to this nightmare. And they want to rethink, and that's changed everything. Because imagine the Monday morning meeting where there was used to be have a boss and they were waiting for everyone to be in the room to start a meeting, would be some power. Well, this is gone. Because when you work from home as James Bond, as you wish, on your own time. That means for the first time, the workplace is going to respect the natural rhythm of people. They're going to respect what time I'm supposed to get up. Take me, for example. I was always useless until 10 a.m. I'm still useless until 10 a.m. Don't ask me why. I was born this way. Of course, I can force myself. I can go up at 5 in the morning if I have to catch a plane or something. But if I have a choice, if you really have a choice, I start at 10, not before. But then you have me at my best. Some people can sleep at night. So their choice, because the workplace is closed, they're watching TV. But if you offer them to work at night, they'll be super happy. And so on. There's some early morning people that some people believe that's, or they feel like getting at 4 in the morning and then running for 2 hours until 6 and then start their work but then they stop working at 3 because they want to enjoy the rest of the day. Well, that is going to be finally possible, not because the workplace has allowed you, and there's only a few companies that allow you to do that, like Google maybe, Apple maybe, I mean, some very big company, but in the rest of the world, we all start at 8 because that, I don't know why, by the way, and we all finish at that time. And again, I don't know why. That was terrorism. That is gone, finally. So we're going to have a team that is going to work 24/7, which is better for the company. And the team could be also spread out since we work from home from around the world. So you literally have a 24/7 working team, because when they're sleeping in America, they're not sleeping in India, and so on. And so you could have a dream team of people super motivated, and they're working not all at the same time, 24/7 for yourself. You have your operation that never closed. Imagine for a company that answer question to the clients, they have like a people online. Well, it doesn't matter where you go, you will have someone answer. There's no be like we close. We never close because someone is always awake around the world at a given time. So what's going to change also, and it's the benefits of staying at home, it's like all this harassment. You remember I was talking about the bullying, the peer pressure. This is gone. And we're talking about a woman here. A woman in the workplace has been, there's been a lot of pressure there. Well, they're going to feel finally that they can just work without avoiding the awkwardness of being at work. And when I come to bullying and harassment, it's not only male, female, you know, it's male, male, female, female. It goes all the way. It goes from boss to employee, from boss to, it goes all over the place. Well, this is gone. And that's the good news. And when it comes to pushing the limits and deadline, this is also gone. You might have a deadline for a project, but then since you have a team working 24/7, not only are you going to meet the deadline earlier, but you're going to also, you're not going to push the people so much because they will decide how much they work. And you know why? You know what's going to happen? Like people going to work from home, they're not going to work 8 hours straight or 10 hours straight. No one would do that because it's not natural. The natural rhythm of us working will finally find space. It will take a bit more time. We're not there yet, but it's taking place as we speak, which is an exciting time for me as an organizational psychologist. Finally, we will need a new leadership, because when you change everything, the leadership that was once before cannot do it. First of all, we're facing for some time already the millennia and soon the Generation Z. Those people, they don't want to work as my generation or generation before. Their goal in life is to promote themselves, is personal branding. So I'm going to work for you if you do something for me. Now, if I just work for money, I'm leaving. And I know some millennials that just quit the job last week, the week before, many, not just one, many quit the job in a time like this where it's hard to find a job. They rather quit, although they were lucky. Some people must say, oh my God, you're lucky, you still have a job and you're quitting? Yes, they're quitting because they calculate that by the time they get where they want to be in this company, it will be too late. They don't have 50 years to give. We're not in Japan in 1945, where you work all the time. You have 1 week off, and it was common to give this week off, offering back to the clients. I remember when I was 18, I was watching a documentary of a Japanese guy that was decorated during the Second War. He helped the army of Japan army to do something amazing. The emperor himself decorated. And after the decoration, you can imagine he was an engineer. He was asked by Sony and by so many other companies in Japan to be there. And he worked all he could, as a Japanese does. And he was married. I don't know how he managed to get a time. He managed to get 2 kids in there, but he never saw them. Maybe on the weekend, and there's no weekend in Japan, actually. Never went to holiday and things. This person was about 80 years old when he was talking, and I was 18 years old. I was watching on TV. And then at the end, after 1 hour of explaining his life and all the decoration and all the nice work he did, you know what he said? He said, come closer. If you're watching this program, I'm going to ask you to do one favor to yourself. Don't, in any circumstances, do ever what I just did. That was my misery life. Forget decoration. I won't take with me in the tomb, but do your life. And that resonates to the millennial and Generation Z. So already was a problem. Now with the freedom of working from home or anywhere in the world, like I am now in Thailand, I've got actually clients from around the world, but I decide to come by the beach and live by the beach with my family instead of living in a nightmare of Vancouver, traveling 3 hours to go, 3 hours to go back, and have no time for my family. So what's going to change is like the leadership will have to adapt to this. And what I predict, that's only a prediction, it's only my own experience, but I believe that the leadership will have to become a guide. There's no more hierarchy, if you like. Everyone will come with their own idea, and we will compose with a diverse team from different culture, and different culture has the advantage to bring more knowledge. You know, too long we have been living in a monocultural things, and it's about time, but we pretend to be this new generation to live all connected. Yeah, we're all connected, but at work, I mean, you know, face it, how many people from all over the world you have in your office? Some, probably, but some. And some country are lucky. In some country, it's a monocultural dimension. Canada is a bit more diverse in cultural, and in many other places. But likewise, there's also many places. Well, this is about to change also. Workplace diversity. Workplace performance would be different. We talk about it. Employee motivation would be different because, again, my motivation to work for you is, sure, I can help you to make your business better if I get something for me, and which is not money, which is something for me. Freedom is one of the things. Freedom to work where I am is one of those. But also, maybe I have a plan to open my own company, and I need your experience working for you to do my experience. And I don't have all day. I don't have to wait 50 years for that. I give you 2 years of my life against money and against and that's exactly why my millennial friends quit, because they say, do you think in 2 years they will give me that chance? No, then I'm quitting right now. Employee motivation will change. The work-life balance is about, for many years, I've been involved in work-life harmonization, work-life balance, what they call, okay? We were trying to tell the employee, okay, you guys, you're working too much, trying to relax, but this is for tomorrow, and no one's go home tonight. Who wants a pizza? Because we're going to stay here all night, but trying to relax. You should have time for yourself, but you're not going anywhere because this project is right now, right here. That's super important. If you're leaving now, right now, don't bother to come back the next day, but do have a work-life balance. Good luck with that. But this finally is there. So, you know, with stress, I was also involved in stress at the workplace. I remember my first stress situation in the workplace, my first stress, what can I say? Not stress, my stress, I was on the BBC and they're trying to tell me not to stress. It was like a stress course, sort of. And they were telling me, if the phone rings, let it ring. It's your lunch pause, but the lunch pause has to be at your desk. Now, who can eat for half an hour with the telephone off the hook right here, right in front of you? Who can just eat and thinking about the beach or about the mountain, about what you're doing on the weekend when the phone is right here ringing? That was a nice theory, but it never worked. If you want, so you stop eating and you take the gun. Yeah, but you shouldn't. You've been on the course. The course says, when you're eating, can I eat outside then? Oh, no, that wouldn't be proper. You should eat at your desk. But ignore the phone. How many do that? It's like a baby crying, We have an instinct that when the baby cries, you have to do something about it because this is what we make us human. The future of organization, though, is going to be more, hopefully, more human. And the leadership will be actually a leadership based on human behavior. And I really hope that the leader will have, the new leader will have about I came with 6 kind of things they should have. First of all, they should have a general compassion for other human life. What happened to me could happen to him. What happened to him could happen to me. That's not always the case at the moment. I hope that the new normal will bring a new compassionate workplace. Let's say, well, we're all brothers and sisters. Have a general understanding of human psychology, because when you're dealing with human, from the minute you brush your teeth and you go out of your apartment and you say hi to the bus driver, whoever you talk to, that's it. You're right in the human psychology. Now, how many people do have the knowledge of psychology? How many people do know what's happening? Very few. And we will need to train those leaders. And that's why there's so many problems, because they have no idea what's going on. That and the lack of compassion, that's what's happening. So hopefully it will be a new leadership with a bit more of understanding, basic understanding of human psychology. That should be taught in kindergarten, because we interact with humans all the time and we don't have that knowledge. We play a game, we don't know how to play the game. We figure it out as it goes. And many people don't figure it out at all. How many people fail relationship? It's not that hard, but no one tells us how. So we all try in a different way. And then most of those fail, including me. Have a fairly good knowledge of history, as many current situations find their roots in our common past. If you don't know what's going on in a country, like for example, I live in Thailand, it's been 1 year. Well, I have to dig into the history of this country if I want to make business with them, because the Thai are proud people. They have reason or no reason, that's debatable, why they're proud, but we cannot go behind it. I'm not here to change the entire country. I'm here to do business with them. If I don't understand where it's coming from, if I don't understand a bit of psychology, a bit of history of the country, I don't know what I'm doing here. I cannot impose my McDonald's way of living, one size fits all. That's the American way, but that American way is also gone, because the one size fits all, that doesn't work. 4, be solution oriented. We're going to have more challenge, and we have to find a leader that encourage and motivate the team to find a solution, not to blame. Let's forget the blame, let's find a solution. Number 5, be ready to change your mind and perspective on everything that you thought was immutable. Everything that we cannot do that, no one have done that. Well, maybe it's time to do it. And those will be ready to accept this perspective and change. They will actually be right on the spot to bring the change. Because as I said, this is only my assumption. We don't know exactly what the change is going to be. And we need to be prepared for everything, including those of things we thought couldn't be changed. And finally, be creative. Creativity, when you have a depression, when you have a problem, creativity is the tool we have been equipped with from birth to combat that depression. And if you're not creative, then you're most likely going to be depressive creative. So don't think outside the box anymore. Think outside of the building. And that's exactly what is going to come from. All the answers come from outside the building. The building is gone. So this is thing. Finally, I want to touch about something else before I take some questions. I want to touch about the workplace at home. Well, not everyone is comfortable working from home. As I say, 8% come back in New York, a bit more in Canada, and I've got only a few numbers around the world. I don't have all the numbers from all over the country. But I do know that sometime working from home, because home was never the workplace. Some people they're very lucky, they have a big house, and so they can afford to transform a bedroom into an office and have their quiet time. Maybe they have no kids, maybe the kids already, and some people, they have one little studio where there are only 5 people in there, and there's no way they could have like a free time to concentrate on their work. So where is the workplace going to go? Home? Not sure. For those who can afford it, maybe. But for those who cannot, then where? And so maybe it's the coffee shop, like the student. If you go to Canada, there's nobody in university. They're all in the coffee shop. They rather have all these music and all these people going and coming. They concentrate better. They put the headphone on and they concentrate better because university doesn't apply. And maybe at home, they're living with 4 or 5 students and they don't have the place for that. So where is the workplace going to be? That we don't know. But hopefully it's going to be more dynamic, because I do know that in some generation, also my generation, we want to finally see the change, and that is my hope. So that's how I'm going to finish this little talk. This is my hope that everything that we wish for, and at least as an organizational psychologist, I was wishing for, is finally happening. COVID is not a good thing, but when you come to the workplace, it is a good thing. We have to think differently. All right, if you have any question, I would be happy to answer. If you want a question, you can also write it down.
Thank you, Patrick. Thank you so much. Yes, I request all the attendees, please, if you want to ask any question to Patrick, please raise your hand. Also, you can write the question in the chat box, which Patrick or myself can pick, and Patrick can himself answer. If not, if you want to interact with Patrick, press the button of raise hand. You can raise a hand and I will request you to unmute your mic and you can ask your question directly from the Patrick, our guest speaker.
That's right. I'm trying to read a bit as I was talking. I didn't take all this question.
Before we go to the attendees and the audience, Patrick, I would like to ask some questions, and let's give some time. Let's give some time to our attendees to think and write questions and get ready for that. So my first question to you, Patrick, though you have explained the current scenario and the challenge for common people like me, that what to do, what to choose. So suppose if my employer is forcing me to come to the workplace, while I am a bit hesitant, I'm a bit fearful that what will happen to me, then what exactly I must do in terms of ensuring that I be away from fear and accept the request of the employer and go to the workplace, or what precautions shall I take so that I don't get impacted physically and mentally?
Well, it's difficult to answer this question because I don't know your workplace, but let's say that in your workplace, you have 30% that already managed to work from home because they have a position that they could. Of course, not everyone could work from home. A factory that make cars, you cannot make cars from your home. So, I mean, depending on the nature of the work, not everyone will have the freedom to work from home. It's depending on your activities, that's for sure. But it's also depending on the manager. So let's say that in your workplace, you have 30% of working from home. What I suggest to you is like, okay, well, 30% can work from home. Can you allow me to also work from home? because most of my time, I do research, I do things on computer. I've got a computer at home. I can do it from there. Now, it's possible. If it's not possible, it's I know that some the fear, as you mentioned, some people want to go back to the old normal as soon as possible. They want to forget that nightmare, that pandemic, and want to go back as soon as possible to what it used to be. And I don't believe we'll ever go back to this. But again, I'm not a fortune teller. I don't know what the future is going to be. But I believe that little by little, it's just a patient things. They're going to have to let people go. I know that in some company in Europe, in the United States, they already have proposed and offer the employee to buy them a chair, to buy them like a nice comfy chair and a desk and whatever they need to replace their work at home. So that's an open-minded. Not everyone is open-minded, but I think as a wave, it's like a tsunami. The first, it's only the beginning. We're still in the beginning of this thing. And maybe in 1 year from now, 2 years from now, it'll be different. I would like to answer Vinet Saxena question. He's asked me to please elaborate more about what I mean about think outside the box, think outside the building. What I mean by that is like for many, many years, we talk about thinking outside the box as trying to think differently. Well, how we can think differently when in a room of 20, you have 20 engineers and they're more or less from the 2 or 3 schools in this city, which teach the same thing, pretty much. They have the same curriculum. Thinking outside the box was impossible when you do that, because you can only imagine. I give you a very, very simple example. We asked New Yorkers, children, about 10 years ago to draw a fish. Those New Yorkers, they've never been to the beach, those kids, never been to they were 5 years old, 5, 6 years old. They never seen a fish, actually. The fish was a fish finger, the yellow flat thing. So you know what they wrote? They designed a square, yellow, and there was a fish. You cannot think something that you haven't seen. So thinking outside the box failed because you ask people to think outside the box within the frame of your education, your culture, and your employee culture. If you only know one thing or two things, there's no outside the box. But now it's time to forget the box. We're out of the building. And you will go and what my wish is, we go outside the building and get the idea from where it's supposed to come, because most of the answer come from outside. You cannot teach someone how to play football in a classroom. The best way is to look, go outside, I'll show you. That's the best. And we forgot that. We live in a research thing.
So makes sense.
Yes. How to handle your colleagues who is so stressed and full of negativity, sits in front of you at the workplace? Well, let me tell you something before I answer that question. Thank you for that question. Very interesting question. In psychology, because I'm a clinical psychologist, here he goes. The tsunami was in March 2020. It takes to the brain about 6 months, so that means in 1 month, October 2020, to register. We registered what happened, but we react within 6 months. Some react already now, some in full panic, but the big wave, the tsunami, is coming between October and December. That's the first wave, not of COVID, first wave of mental illness, because some people realize that without work, so what I'm here to do? And we never asked this question. Too busy driving things, the kids, the thing. We never asked the time to ask the question, what is in my life? And that's very scary when you ask, what else to do? And if you remove the work, then what else am I going to do? So the second wave, it takes about a year for the brain to register. So in March 2021, we will have, like we have now, a second wave, not of COVID, a second wave of post-traumatic stress of that. So you say your colleague has stress already and full of negativity. That's not surprised, because some already registered that, things change. And we're always afraid of a change. That's for sure. Change is scary. Until it becomes the new normal, change is scary. So what you do if they sit in front of you is pretty hard to ignore. that's a tough situation. Maybe ask to change place, maybe work from home if you can, because you don't want to be filled with a negativity every day. That's not fair. And that shouldn't be allowed in a way. Before, after COVID, it doesn't matter. That kind of situation is so common. You know, if somebody is super negative, it's, you know, maybe you need help, you know, and you say, look, I'm going to help you outside, but right now when we work, let's do some work. And then maybe outside, you can talk about why you're so negative, what happened to you. But maybe it's not your role to do that. Maybe you're waiting for HR to do that. But HR too busy to figure out how they're going to do it. The CEO is too busy to figure out how to make money in this pandemic. And so no one wants to take charge. But I think the problem with the workplace is like, no, we need to be, you know, I personally took some colleagues before outside for a drink and we talk as friends. They were not my friends, but they become friends, you know, and it's a big thing. You know, sometimes it's just a little thing. People want to be heard. In psychology, there's one thing, there's one constant in human life. We can't stand to be ignored. We don't, and we, you know, if you walk in the street and no one look at you, no one talk to you, completely ignore like you are thin air, this is the worst for us. We want to be noticed, even a little bit. And when we do something and nothing, from a kids that want you attention is going to break something to get your attention. We need to be noticed. And some people are crying out from the inside to be noticed. And sometimes they don't have any attention at home or things, so they do that in the workplace.
Yeah, I think what is coming to my mind, Patrick, as you mentioned, that even the leadership must have some basic knowledge of psychology and having
Yes.
the feeling of compassion. So the answer to Shweta Gupta could be that she must also develop the feeling of compassion. She must also develop understanding of the psychology, because as you know, everything is energy. So if someone, the colleague is generating the negative energy, then she must be in position to accept that energy and not be negative by herself, but responding with the positive energy. So maybe that could be quite helpful. My other question, Patrick, to you is based on these questions from attendees. I know that you have expertise in designing a specific training courses and seminars, etc. So have you designed anything specific to this kind of situation? And do you think that your training courses can be useful for the employers or the companies, organization in this part of the world, in Dubai or UAE?
Yes, so I have designed courses, and I'm working also together with Dr. Seema Rekha, which is on the audience now. And between my company, our company, we doing this. We're trying to address the new workplace. Of course, it would be very pretentious of my part to say that my answer will fit all over the world. You never know until you try, but I'm trying to be as large as possible. And so, yes, I would love to do something more because we need, I mean, people will need some help. The leaders will need some help. The employee will need some help. We need to actually do some more training because no school at the moment. Look, I took 6 months of my life since March, while you were doing your 134th talk. I took 6 months of my life to redesign a new course, trying to imagine what would be needed, like you were doing your talk. I think all these initiatives like yours, like I'm trying to do, and many others I know are very, there's no school in the planet that will, what we're doing tonight is more beneficial because the answer the people ask, the people that join tonight, one answer right now, and they, what are we going to do? Go back to school and study 4 years? Study 4 years for what? And what are you going to study? So there is no answer. There's no book. There's no Google it. So we need to have specialists that come and tell what we're supposed to have done for a long time ago. And I think I've designed 3 courses only. That's enough. 3 courses that could be applied for the leadership, yes. And I would love to come to, or come or do it online, or even better come, because I like better on the, hopefully one day we will open the borders. I have a lot of questions here coming in, trying to finish with this question. What should be my advice to him will be, he has no hope, he is not satisfied with what he's doing in his job. So the advice for that person that is not satisfied with the job is like, we don't die if we change job. We don't die. I change job more often than things, you know. I know it's kind of scary in what we need to do. I don't know his economy, his bank account, of course, that's a lot of things. But at the end of the day, you have to be satisfied to what you do. If you're not satisfied, my best suggestion is find something that satisfies you. Imagine you live with someone and that person, you can stand that person. The minute you open your eyes, you can say, you're going to stay the rest of your life? No, eventually it's going to break. It's going to change. You're going to change. You or her or whatever, it's going to change. Well, same thing with a job. You know, you don't have to stay, especially the job. My grandmother used to say, remember, you're not married with your employer. You can leave anytime. So that's my situation. Some book, well, all the books on the new leadership that understand psychology have been written pre-COVID, right? So there is, I would say, a good part that still apply, but there's probably a third of the part that is so new that it won't apply anymore because the advice was made. We need to rewrite all the books almost. If I'm right, if we stay the way it is, we need to reinvent a new society, which is more common. Like there was a question from my friend Sven, like how you go through the toxic relationship between all this culture. This is exactly what we need to address. Again, you know, like racism and all these things, because of we don't know. You know, like when you don't know, when you act by fear, it's because you don't know. You have no knowledge because you don't know. You're afraid. But once you know a culture, once you know when to welcome, you know, I'll tell you a story. When I was in Canada, I had a student from Saudi Arabia. He was just arrived to Canada, and he was looking for a place to stay. He was just about to start his 4 years university. And then he visited that day 5 or 6 places, and all of them, when he saw he was Saudi, they say no. Sadly, the Canadian not so open. When he came to me, I greet him in Arab. So I don't speak Arab, but just a little bit of greetings. And straight from the parking lot, he said to me, Patrick, I don't know your place. Maybe it's a shitty place, but I'm going to stay with you. Just because you greet me in my language, and you're the first one to actually treat me as equal from today. And he stayed with me 1 year, and then moved with some friends after that. But it was a pleasure to have him, and we're still friends today. People, they don't know they're fearing, and that's a problem. Hopefully one day the new generation, I believe the new generation are more mixed. You know, I got Chinese living in Europe. I got like Japanese come to Canada, for example, and once they see a different way of living, they never want to come back to Japan. So the parents are you don't want to come back to work 16 hours a day? No, thank you. I'd rather stay here. So the things are changing, slow, but it's changing. But now with the COVID is an accelerator of what's going to happen, and hopefully it will accelerate because we need to change.
Very good. Thank you so much, Patrick. He might have asked you, Kaifal Hal, Patrick. Anta Kwais, Mia.
Okay. Shukran.
Shukran. Very good. So I'm sure that your expertise, Patrick, your training courses, as I believe that you are covering the entire region of this area, and I believe that you are covering the entire Southeast Asia. So let's be in touch. I believe your expertise would be useful for the organization in this region, and
yes.
because we all need the people like you to come forward and help humanity, and that's what is the need of the hour. And I believe that it's going to be useful. So my another quick question to you, Patrick, is that you have chosen psychology, and which is really it's a very complex subject. So what made you to choose this subject, and what made you to work on this? And are you really enjoying your subject and your profession? And how do you see yourself going forward next 5 or 10 years, Patrick?
So how it started when I was 6 years old. You know, I grew up with my grandparents. One day I was shopping with my grandmother. We were about to cross the street, and I was holding her hands, waiting to cross the street. My grandma spot a man on the other side, and he said, "You see this man? He looks like he was looking for something. He was looking, but we never know this man." And she was a bit of psychic, and she said like, "This man going to cross the street right here, and he's going to go right to this shop." And the man did just that. He crossed in front of us and he went there. And I was like amazed. I was like, "How did you know that?" I said, "Well, maybe I was a lucky guess." But if you can read the mind of people just a few minutes before, you always be ahead of the game. And I ask, and how can I do that? Well, it's called psychology. I was hooked. I was 6 years old. So that was it. Now, in the next 5 years, I really want to help, as you said, as much. I already partner with my friend Sven here, with Dr. Seema Rekha and some other people from India. I will love to come to your region of the part of the world. I have actually some friends, including my ex roommate that now actually he said like, "If you come in manager hotel now, if you come, you can stay in Riyadh anytime." But I would like to come to the Emirates also. And so yes, that's what I see myself the next 5 years trying to help the change. I'm just another guy. I'm not God. I'm just another guy. I have only few answers, but I have observed. I have a power of observation, and I work in so many workplaces in 3 different continents that I can tell what at least what's not working. Let's try something else, because all this we tried before and that doesn't work or will fail eventually. So let's try something else. And I'm very creative, and I come with a course, and I would love to that's what I want to see. I see myself helping. You see, I tried many things. I was an employee before. I was doing things, and every time I didn't help people, I was miserable. When I help people, then I feel happy, and I think that's my karma. This is what I'm supposed to do.
Great. Wish you all good luck. But just last but not least, question, Patrick, is that what do you suggest to a student who is ready to enter into university for the higher studies? Do you recommend psychology as a subject which will give an option or the more than one option and explore the world and the better career in terms of getting good job and whatsoever? Do you recommend to have the psychology as a major?
As a major, probably not. If they don't want to be a psychologist, it can be a minor. It could be also sociology. I mean, any social subject, any subject that talk about human interaction, that would be helpful, because that's what we do before university, within university, and all until we die. This is what we do. We interact with people all the time. If you don't know how to play the game, you only guess, and the game change. It's time sensitive. Last question, Rita Sowat asks, like, which theory helped you understand the person? I don't think there's one. You see, I'm going to answer this question, but like every person look at you with their bias. That means that this, like with the glasses, and we all have different glasses. So I believe I am who I am. I have an idea of who I am, but I'm not sure. What it is like some people reflect. Let's say I think I'm a friendly person. If I believe I'm friendly, but I have no friends, clearly I have to review that things. Now, if I have many friends and they say, "Oh yeah, Patrick is very friendly," then they reflect on me what I already believe I was. And that's how the validation is a two-sides validation. What you believe you are and the validation of the group. If you don't have the validation of the group, then you're delusional. Now, which theory, to answer your question, nature or nurture? I like the question. Which one is more influencing, nature or nurture? Both, I would say. But nature, observe nature. I think natural feeling and natural things, if you do something natural, that you always be in tune with what you're supposed to be. If you're trying to push the nature away, yeah, you will push for a while, but then nature takes its place eventually. So yes, there's no theory. There's no one book, one theory, one guy. I don't follow anybody. I have read a lot, and I bring, same thing with religion. I read all of the books of all religion, and I make my own idea. Maybe it sounds like something weird, but I think I'm sure it's not the only one. I took the best. Let's imagine it's a buffet. You invite me to a buffet. Well, I don't have to take all the food. I will just pick and choose what I really like, because at the end of the day, it's me eating. Doesn't mean the fruit or the food I don't pick is not good. I just say, maybe today I didn't feel like it. Maybe I don't like that one. Why not? But this is why it's so diverse. And I like the diversity. There's something in Europe, they say, the European Union says something about their motto is united in diversity. If we can actually apply that for the rest of the world, united in diversity, that would be the best. Let's keep the difference and let's unite. My friend from Europe has already have the flag, European flag here. But yes, although it's a nice theory, that Europe is not there yet, but it's a nice theory. Let's try to unite in diversity. That's the best, would be the best way.
Great. Thank you so much, Patrick. I'm sure that our attendees enjoyed your conversation, and you had given very powerful insights and a couple of very important suggestions in terms of managing the stress, managing the self, and moving forward, and challenging the challenges which pandemic has brought in front of us. So I'm sure our attendees are going to be implementing your ideas and the knowledge, the wisdom, what they have got it from you from this Empowerment Talks platform. So thank you so much. But before we part away, I would like to request your colleague Seema Rekha to please come on video and speak a few words about you and about her association with your organization. Over to you, Seema Rekha.
Hi, Shahidi. Hi, Patrick. Good evening, everybody. It's my pleasure to talk about Patrick. So Patrick, during COVID-19, the entire world is on one slate, and where Patrick has been a great support for us to establishing our business in Thailand and Vietnam, and he's leading Indonesia, Thailand, Vietnam, and Malaysia office for us. And we are the first one who could launch psychological safety at workplace in India in 2017 also. So that all support which Patrick brought to us is enormous, and we are really grateful, and I feel very privileged to have him as my great support, my backbone. Thank you, Patrick, for always being there, and whatever you shared, that is so relevant in today's time where we have to connect digitally, and in a way it's a positive time that at least we are connecting digitally. So that's really a pleasure time. And thank you, Mr. Shaidi, to count me in for this conversation. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I am sure that we'll be in touch so that together we can keep on contributing for the humanity. And that's what is the purpose of Empowerment Talks. We want to ensure that we have the collaboration with powerful people who have the same wise, same purpose. And I'll also request quickly if your colleague Esven Ertz, if I'm correctly pronouncing the name, sir, you were putting some messages in the chat box. If you can, please share some of your words about Patrick. If you can unmute yourself and speak few words. Esven Ertz. Please go ahead, sir.
Yeah, so I'm waiting with Patrick. Yeah, we are using the logical. We put a lot of stress on the logical framework that is made up by at the level of the United Nations, the 17 global goals. Does everybody know that the 17 global goals for sustainable development? Do you guys
think so?
In the chat box, do you know this, the 17 global goals, logical framework of the United Nations? That is really
Krishna Raj Iyer say yes. Some of the attendees say no, but most of them are aware of this.
Yeah, I assume so. Huh? So I think I would encourage everybody to follow that logical framework that is given there at the UN level. Also the UN calendar of observances with the World Days. For example, sometimes you read the World Day of of sports for peace and development, for example, or the World Youth Day, or for example, we are now in the UN International Decade for Approachment of People. If you are just saying, yeah, I'm this and that, and I'm calling you on behalf of this, or if you would say, I'm calling you on behalf, because I'm working in the framework of the 17 global goals, or in the framework of the UN International Decade for the Rapprochement of People, for example, and cultures, that gives a lot more power behind your words. And you will feel that you are being carried by something that has enough depth and that is also open enough, so that you do not get trapped into some small place. And that is what I appreciate when working with Patrick.
Thank you so much, Seven Earths. And now we'll be closing, but before we close, Patrick, coming back to you, I just wanted to know, and our attendees would like to know that how was your experience coming to Empowerment Talks platform and having conversation, sharing your ideas, sharing your knowledge, and ensuring that we have a long-term relationship with the same purpose of serving humanity?
Well, I'm overwhelmed. You almost like the answer is in the question, but because we're sharing the same goal. For me, when I was invited to the Empowerment Talk, I was very happy that someone was interested in listening to what I have to say. Not because I like to be on stage. Actually, I don't. But I'm happy to help. And you know, of course, the talk online is something I have to get used to. I'm not so good online, not so photogenic. It's weird for me. I'm better in person, and I'm better to interact with person, like we all do, I think. But for some, it works better behind the screen. But yes, I'm very happy that your initiative started, and every day you manage to find a great speaker. This is a challenge. I mean, to find something to talk about every day, and every day you add it. This is amazing. And I'm sure you have inspired already for the last 134 days, you know, a lot of people, and you will carry on doing so. It's because of your initiative that the world is changing, and I'm really grateful to be part of the change. So thank you so much for inviting me.
So thank you so much, Patrick, and please do accept a flower bouquet from all of us, a sort of token of love, token of appreciation. This is what the digital token of appreciation we can offer to you. And thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for your insights. And I'm sure our attendees, they have got benefited with your conversation. And just to let you know that under Empowerment Talks banner, we do have other initiatives as well. As you can see on the screen, we do have 5 AM clubs where every morning we around 200 plus selfless soul, we get together and we follow certain powerful rituals. And the purpose is to make a difference in our life, to become a better version of ourselves. Also, we have a group of mastermind where we do the brainstorming to ensure that we improve ourselves with the better habits and a better version of ourselves, so that we can help the society, help the community, and do something better. Also, we do have ebook ratio where we study and review books, and the objective is same, to improve ourselves. And also we have a collaboration with life coaches and some Dr. Smita Pravakar, she is the meditation expert, and we have a collaboration with the Dubai Job Hunts, where we help each other to ensure that we get the jobs fine for them in case they have any issue. And here is a team together. You can see on the screen, Tulika, Santosh, Bhavni, Anita, Jayashri, Asal, Chandni, Harun, Renira, Alexander, Kishore, myself. So we are together working under the leadership of Yash and Faisal, the founder, and we are trying to change the lives. And I also invite all the attendees and even Patrick, you and your team, please be part of Empowerment Talks so that together we can do something different for the humanity. And here is our contact, WhatsApp and other social media. You can all contact us, reach us, and we can have a stronger relationship. So thank you so much. Stay safe, stay blessed, and see you in the next episode of Empowerment Talks, definitely, which is going to happen tomorrow. So thank you all, and God bless you. Be safe wherever you are, and take care of yourself. Thank you so much.
Thank you. We'll be in touch soon, okay? Yes.
Definitely.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.